Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 2 in this joint Dota League Season 3 matchup between Mineski and Arrow Gaming. I am Mr. Blackadder for HeflaTV, and joining me once again is Grandis V.
Yeah, as far as game 1 is concerned, that was a very scary performance coming out from Jacko, and a lot of that came down to the supporting duo of Jesse Vash and Playhard. They had a lot of great rotations around the map, and I don't know, usually Jakiro, you think of that ice path as being an, I don't know, inconsistent disable, but I don't think there was a missed ice path that game. They were always on point, and they just found the perfect angles for them. Yeah, under normal circumstances, I would say that Viper's not a very scary first ban, but after last game, I can definitely understand Arrow Gaming banning that out. I think one of the biggest problems for Arrow Game 1 was how their offlane went. They picked a Bristleback, which honestly on the dire side is probably not the best choice because his landing stage just went so poorly up against that Viper. It's kind of setting yourself up for failure. I think a Tidehunter would have functioned a little bit better, but even then, I'm not sure if it would have been enough.
I'd be inclined to agree. I'm not sure if it would have been enough either, but you do mention the first ban Viper. That's a tip of the hat towards Joven there on that Viper from last game. 14-0. He was immortal. Quite the worrying thing when you consider he just walked into everything. He did not care. He just tanked up every single thing in that game. But now in game 2, Razor first pick for Arrow. And on the flip side of that coin for Mineski, they'll go with the Faceless Void and the Skywrath Mage. They don't care about the Tinker. They're going to leave the Tinker in. They've proven they can fight up against the Tinker. But for Arrow, they will now get the Shadow Shaman. So we're looking for that push strat to develop. We're waiting about 20 to 25 minutes for Razor to come online, and then towers will start falling to the Aghanim Scepter of Razor.
Yeah, these are the 4 heroes that really came into popularity during TI4, and it's definitely a solid start coming out from both of them. The Witch Doctor ban, under normal circumstances, it's a little bit weird, but against a Faceless Void, it's definitely warranted. I think the support that they're going to look for, however, with this Skywrath Mage is either going to be an Earthshaker or a Sand King, depending on how aggressive they want to play. If they want to just passively farm, I think it's going to be your SK, and if they want to start roaming around the map and looking for kills, I think it's going to be an Earthshaker again.
It would not surprise me to see the Earthshaker, but again, I would equally not be surprised to see the Earthshaker banned out here by one of these teams. I mean, the Earthshaker works well for both sides right now. Earthshaker Skywrath or Earthshaker Shadow Shaman both have huge impact ability in this next game. But we do get a ban on the Witch Doctor, so there will be no Death Ward in this game. What are Mineski going to approach now with the bans? I mean, Shadow Shaman's taken out, Razor's taken out. Do they ban the Tinker, or do they leave it in?
Honestly, I'm not so sure. I think Tinker could probably function a little bit better in this game, since he's on the Radiant side, as well as, I don't know, just generally being a little bit better up against a Faceless Void, although he's very easy to catch out the Tinker with the Chronosphere. As long as he comes in after the Chrono is down, you can laser up the Faceless Void, drop a March inside his Chronosphere, and just be a general nuisance in the team fights. I don't know, last game was almost your perfect setup for a Tinker. There isn't much that can go better for him. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, obviously not dying in the laning stage would be good, but he was on the right build path, and Mineski just showed that they could fight up against it. And Arrow Gaming, in fact, are going to ban that out, showing that they don't want to go for it, but even if they did, they don't have first pick coming out of the second banning stage, so it's Mineski who are going to control the tempo of this draft, and they can go for pretty much whatever they want to.
And we do see the ban on Tinker from Arrow. We equally have a ban on the Brewmaster from Mineski, so Mineski, now where do they approach? Do they ban the Tide here? That's my question. Or do we see a ban on the Earthshaker? Both of these would be viable, but Mineski do have the next pick. So if they ban Tide, they will pick Earthshaker, most likely.
Yeah, they might not pick Tidehunter if they ban out the Earthshaker. It all depends on what they want to do with this Faceless Void. If that's a safe lane farming Void, I wouldn't be opposed to the Tidehunter pick, but instead they'll ban out the Batrider, which is a really solid initiator that could really mess up the fight for Mineski. If they catch the Faceless Void and focus him down inside the lasso, it'll be problematic for them, but instead they're going to take a different route altogether with the Centaur Warner. This is going to give them that offlane initiation, although it's going to be more single target focused than your Tidehunter.
I like the Centaur pickup. Owa demonstrated in the last game he can land the Stomp combo. Now, if he can do the same in this game, I'm going to put my money on Mineski once again. But we do get the Nature's Prophet for Arrow, and they're going for that all-in style of push. The Nature's Prophet now, the Nature's Rat himself, the Rat King. I hate
Yeah,
this hero. I really hate this hero.
Yeah, as I've heard before, Nature's Prophet, he's not going to have the easiest game of his life, however. They have some really good tools to catch him out. A Blink Centaur and a Faceless Void with a Time Lock in Chronosphere can definitely make this Nature's Prophet hate his life while he's trying to split push. I don't know, the Scarth Mage especially, if he's paired with either of those, they'll be able to obliterate him very easily. With the Ancient Seal on top of it, a Hoof Stomp Double Edge is pretty much going to be a dead hero. Maybe with the exception of the Razor, depending on how he builds, but the Shadow Shaman, Nature's Prophet, and pretty much most other heroes that Arrow Gaming could pick are not going to survive through that.
Well, we do get the Mirana now for Mineski, so they're even going to have Moonlight Shadow to initiate onto this Nature's Prophet with among the other heroes. And this, in my mind, as a lineup from Mineski, is a big threat. I mean, you consider offlane Centaur, potentially support Mirana with a Skywrath, the Faceless Void solo farming on the safe lane, and then we're looking for a mid who can brawl, who can fight. I mean, you could pick up the Invoker here for Mineski. You could pick up the likes of, say, a Warlock. That would actually work quite well for them, considering there's an interaction that is little well known. But if you use Chaotic Offering and then use Stampede, the Golems get max move speed.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards the Invoker if that is a roaming Mirana. If it's not, that's going to be a Mirana mid, which honestly I'm not a huge fan of. It would give the Scarth Mage as a support a little bit more room to wiggle in as some Mirana, while she's roaming around, they could leave the Scarth Mage in that mid matchup, although if that's a Razor, that's something they needs to just kind of soak experience from. I'm going to expect that this is a support Mirana, although they don't have the best setup until they get their Faceless Void Chronosphere or the Blink Dagger online for the Centaur. It definitely can get some kills with a Concussive Shot lining up an easier arrow.
I would completely agree to that one, but landing those arrows is going to be the key thing. If those arrows do land in Mineski's favour, this could be an absolute catastrophe for Arrow, considering Arrow have gone squishy push. They've got Nature's Prophet, he's going to spawn trees, he's going to do a good amount of right-click, boosted by Vengeful Spirit's aura, Shadow Shaman wards as well. However, all three of these heroes have sub 700 HP at level 1. Hell, I want to say sub 600 even. I'm pretty sure sub 600, and we'll get the puck for the final pick out of Mineski, so they're looking for that silence, that initiation, and again, a very good pick.
Yeah, it's going to do okay in lane. There's very few heroes that actually dominate a puck. At the very least, he'll be able to spam out the waves with Illusory Orb, so no matter what the mid matchup is, they'll still have something to fall back on, and it gives them another solid way to initiate the fights. They have 3 really great ways to start fights, with the Blink Centaur, Faceless Void with his Chrono, and then the Blink Initiation from the puck. And then they also have the Chance Arrow landing. Mineski, as we saw last game, as long as they're able to get the fights on their footing, it's going to be very hard for Arrow Gaming to fight into that, and I don't see Arrow Gaming being able to avoid fights.
No, they're not a very escapable team. They're going to need Blink Daggers and Force Staffs, in all honesty. And if any member of Arrow gets caught out, they are pretty much dead in my mind. They are all so low HP. They are all so inescapable. And for the final hero, we will get Dragon Knight, which, sure, he's more tanky. He can help push, but is it enough? I am not inclined to think it is. And as these lanes form up and the players select their heroes, what can I say? I'm going to put my money once again onto Mineski. What about you, Grandis?
I think I'm going to have to be a turncoat. I'm liking Mineski's draft a little bit better. Dragon Knight, as their last pick, I'm not sure if it was banned out or not. I can't actually see that right now. But if Invoker was still in the pool, I would have liked that pick coming out from them a lot better. Would still offer more into the summons push. And I don't know, I think it would just offer them a little bit more as far as pick-out potential with their Vengeful Spirit and Shadow Shaman, offering that Sunstrike support.
I would be inclined to agree with you there, but as we get this game underway, let's introduce the players, shall we? For Arrow, we have DDZ on that Dragon Knight. Over in the role of the Shadow Shaman, we have MTR. And following him up, right behind him, will be the Razor of Lance. And heading towards the top lane on the Razor was something I did not expect. We do have Zhang Zai on the Nature's Prophet, and that to round out the team, Mosin on the Skywrath Mage.
And on the side of Mineski, they're playing on the Dire with Playhard, taking up the Skywrath Mage, Jesse Vash. From the Centaur Warner, we're going to have Oa on the Faceless Void. Puck is going to be handled by Jacko. And the Mirana, currently going towards the safe lane, looks like she's going to be farming, and in fact is not a support, is going to be played by Joven. a very interesting laning choice coming out from Mineski. This is making me like the draft coming out from Arrow a little bit better, because that looks like a roaming Centaur, actually. I can definitely see this working out with a Skywrath Mage, and it's probably going to catch Arrow off guard. If they get a couple of early kills, this combo could work out for them, but then again, if they fall behind, the Centaur is going to get very little to nothing.
Mineski are running this exactly like their game from earlier. They had Play Hard on the Skywrath Mage, and they had Jesse Vash on a Juggernaut before, with that level 1 in boots. However, we've now got this with a Centaur. Centaur tankier, has a stun. I'm liking this. A roaming Centaur I haven't considered before, but considering Play Hard can slow a hero down and Jesse Vash can get on top of them very quickly, I like this. I like this a lot. And Zhang Zai will be the target here if they can find the Nature's Prophet. And they're certainly lurking, waiting for that one. They've even got the lane ward here to try to give them that level of control. So this could spiral out of control in favour of Mineski if they can get a few early kills onto this Nature's Prophet. And
I think the biggest advantage of going for this is the surprise factor, and oh, they spot out Zhang Zai. This could be disastrous for him.
Tunneling through the trees. Are they going to go on him? Yes, they are. The slow comes through from Oa with that time walk, and you've got the attempted escape from Zhang Zai. They're going to cancel one stun, but the second one does land from Jesse Vash. A couple of right clicks, and this could spell the doom of Zhang Zai, but they don't want to tank the tower. They're actually just going to force him back.
Yeah, that was one of the most awkward initiations I've ever seen. That was quite possibly 4 Tangas being used to try to juke through the trees from both teams. It was a whole lot, and yeah, it doesn't end up netting them a kill because Zhang Zai was playing too far back, and I don't know, this combo really needs to start out with the Centaur leading the charge, but he was body blocked up by the Faceless Void and by the Skywrath Mage. They're going to go straight towards mid, but if this rotation doesn't work for them, it's going to be a lot of time wasted for the Mineski supports, and if they don't get this kill onto DDZ, I'm really not liking the choice to roam the Centaur.
I'm completely agreeing with you there, and they're looking for the courier, but the courier's already got and delivered the bottle, I believe, and DDZ, I know it's just bottle crowing, so they could potentially get it on its return trip, and if they wait around long enough, that could work, but no, they're already rotating away. They were scouted out by those treants, and Jesse Vash can't really just sit around when he knows he's been seen. And the main reason this kill on the bottom lane didn't work, when the time leap came in from the Void, as top lane we actually do get a kill from Lance onto Joven. I missed the first blood, I am a bad caster.
I'm honestly not sure how that happened. I thought Mirana would be playing defensively enough, especially with the first point up into leap, but it looks like they just landed up Eventual Spirit as DDZ gets taken down in mid. There's a TP in from the Nature's Prophet. They want to try to pick up any of these kills, but he won't go for it after all is said and done, and just sits down in bottom. The Shadow Shaman gets off his shackles, but he's not in the best position. The damage from shackles will actually be enough to kill off the center, and with the haste rune, he's looking for more. Jacko's going to eat it, auto attack, but without any other spells onto MTR, he's not going to be able to do much more.
No, he isn't, and equally, Jacko, in this mid lane, he's around half health, and he's successfully dodging a lot of DDZ's Breathe Fires here, which is pretty damn good considering these lane matchups so far. But we do have the rotation in from MTR going to find Joven, and could be in a lot of trouble himself here. He's eating a lot of physical right click, but no, with the rotation potentially in from Mosen, not going to be able to get anything there. And I was going to say on that bottom lane, the whole reason they didn't get that first blood is because when the time leap came in, he landed in the wrong spot. He landed behind when he wanted to get in front of that Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, this laning stage is not working out for Mineski. They went for some cheeky plays down in bottom, trying to get that first blood, and now their supports are both at level 1. Centaur might have found his level 2, but even then, it's 3 minutes in, and they haven't been able to do anything.
No, they're not being able to find the kills, they're not being able to find the initiation, and that's a big problem for this combination of supports. If it was anything like the previous game that I mentioned, the Juggernaut Skywrath Mage support game, they were just rotating around the map, massacring everything that moved.
Yeah, as good as this combination is good when they get levels, before they get like the level 3 on both of them, they don't actually do that much damage. Unlike the Juggernaut with the spin, as long as you have 100% uptime on that, that's pretty much a dead level 1 hero if you can just chase him down. As potentially they're going to go up on top and just push down this lane with Zhang Zai, summoning the trees. There's very little Mirana can do. She's actually sitting mid, looking for an arrow that doesn't land.
No, and you also did have the rotation in from Jesse Vash there, looking to try to get the stomp off the back of that arrow. So a good 30 seconds where a support and the safe lane farmer, the Mirana in this case, have just wasted time not getting anything. And Arrow, just with an explosive early push, early power in this game, have managed to secure themselves the first tier 1, and this is not good for Mineski.
It's really not. When you're running one of those pushing lineups that can really commit to those towers, giving them an early start is not what you want to be doing. Vengeful Spirit, she has her level 3. As does a Shadow Shaman, he's actually looking pretty good in the level department, as well as the farm, with the Arcane Boots already. And he'll be looking for a reasonably timed level 6, although not the fastest I've seen. They're 5-manning a lot, so Nature's Prophet is getting a little bit less, but now that he jumps back down towards bottom, he'll be able to pick up a couple of levels of his own.
Well, if he can get those levels up on the spot line, that would be perfect. But equally, this entire time, O has been farming on that Faceless Void, looking for whatever he can find. And he's got 1,000 gold in his pocket. He can finish up his treads if he wanted to. And I should think we're going to be looking just for maybe the Aghanims build on this Faceless Void, considering it's in the offlane role and considering how teamfight-centric this game is going to become, considering these pushes are already cracking on tier 2s here. The tier 2 could take a staggeringly large amount of damage if we don't see rotations here. And Arrow certainly finding their openings, what can I say?
Definitely. This Faceless Void, I think he's going to need to function more as the carry. I wouldn't like it if he goes for Midas, although that's definitely something he might consider. I think just going Power Treads into like Mask of Madness and then backing out for the Aghanims or BKB would be a better choice for him, because despite having some good supports behind him to do damage inside the Chronosphere, the Scarth Mage isn't getting the levels that he needs in order to really pull his own weight, neither is the Mirana. They'll have the Arrow follow-up as well as eventually they'll have the Mystic Flare, but I think this Faceless Void needs to build not as an offlaner, but rather as the more hard carry.
I would completely agree to that one. And Mirana, you mentioned Mirana as a hard carry. It's a term that I find very hesitant a lot of this time, because at most, Mirana can generally semi-carry. She's a utility semi-carry. Hard carry Miranas are few and far between. They just lack the early damage.
Well, they look for the hoof stomp on top, and the lance it will land. The arrow's going to fly. He lands onto nothing, and Jesse Vash is actually the one to give up the kill here. As the Link as well as the Shackles go his way, there's no way he can escape. And yet another rotation going to fail coming out from these supports. This Centaur is not working out for them, or at least not coming out in the way that they had in mind. Had they gotten the first kill on the Nature's Prophet, everything could have completely changed, but I think that's really your biggest turning point for the Sky as well as the Centaur.
I would completely agree. That first kill, that was everything, and this could go very rapidly the way of Arrow Gaming. If DDC initiates on Jacko here under the tower, they get the Dragon Breath, they get the first hit, so the Corrosive is there, as well as the Dragon Tail and the Vengeful Spirit Magic Missile. There's no hope for the puck on that one. Completely locked down, isolated under 4 heroes, and at this point in, make that 5 heroes, the Lance rotating in as well. This could be a 5-man push coming on this tier 1 in the mid lane, and it would not surprise me in the slightest. There is nothing at this point Mineski can do to hold this. They cannot fight into a 5-man team push at this point.
They have the half duration on DDC's Dragon form, as well as the Treant summoned. I think this is just straight up dead. They're posturing around it. They do have a time walk into Chronosphere. They can follow up with the Arrow, and maybe they'll be able to find a pick off after the tower dies, but it's going to die one way or another. DDZ, they're going to jump onto him. The Chronosphere is going to land, but there's no follow-up. Jacko's going to be the first one to die. He's shackled up. The puck is trying to get out of here. It's a nice Dream goes on to 4 with the double edge to secure the kill on the Shadow Shaman. It's a 1-for-1 trade to start us off, but Playhard's going to make that a 2-for-1 as he also dies inside the Sprout.
Even dying inside the Sprout like that, it's still 2 kills advantage, but look how quickly these heroes are respawning, and the momentum of Arrow is not even dented. In fact, Jacko's now going to have to go back to base. Joven's got to have to be very careful, and it would not surprise me to see a siege on the tier 2. Then again, we are seeing the Nature's Prophet of Zhang Zai rotating up to that top lane, and maybe looking to get some siege on that tower, and you do have Oa here ready to try to repel him, but Void doesn't have a Chronosphere at this point. It's locked out for another 70 seconds, and he has opted for a Midas in a game where they are being pushed so heavily. I mean, I don't really want to sound like the broken record, but TZ Midas, maybe?
Kind of. Okay, so how this is going to go down for the Faceless Void is if they're able to hold, it's going to be the best item in the game. If they're not able to hold, it's going to be the worst. It's a very high-risk item coming out from Oa. If they're able to hang on until he's able to get the items on top of that Midas, he'll be in a great situation. But if it's going to cost him his Mask of Madness and Power Treads where he could have gotten a kill, I think it's kind of a necessary evil. It might cost them the game because he's not able to have the impact, but then again, they won't be able to win this early by any stretch of the imagination, and they won't be able to win this late without Faceless Void getting a lot of farm. And the way he sees it, the Midas is the only option in order to get that extra infusion of gold.
It will also give him a little bit of level acceleration, sure, but seeing a Midas when you're being pushed so heavily, it always makes me question it. Because if you're being pushed heavily, the last thing you could potentially want is a Midas, especially when you're struggling to hold your towers already. But from
Agreed.
but in this scenario, what really else could he do? Considering we're 9 minutes in this game, there are already 2, potentially 3, if this tower goes down, falling in favour of Arrow, as well as 6 kills. And we can see this on the graph, 3,000 gold lead already for Arrow Gaming, and we do get the rotation in. Dragon Tail from DDZ onto jesivash, and jesivash cannot just survive. The arrow goes through everyone, it threads the needle, and there is no hope of defending this off the back of that one. The Serpent Wards were just shredding that tower the entire time. The tier 1 does fall. Now you've got the Treant here, with the Treant spawned by the Nature's Prophet here, and the Green Dragon form is still up. This could be a tier 2. Where is the defense coming in? There is none. Jacko's going to try to trade for a mid, but no, fortification. That tower's not going to fall. The same up for this top lane on Oa. He could try to push this one, but by the time this tier 2 falls, they're just going to TP and defend their other lanes.
Yeah, it's a really slippery slope for Mineski that they've completely fallen down. If you look at the hero levels, it's just not working. Their supports are both level 4 at 10 minutes, and you'd want them to be thinking about getting that Mystic Flare online, or having the Stampede to try to get anything. But there's no room on this map anymore for these 2 supports.
And DDZ is just finding all the stacks that his supports made for him early game. He's going to be able to farm up at a ridiculous level. He's got 2,000 gold in the pocket. It would not surprise me in the slightest to see a drum just for the extra stats and pushing power. Equally, components for BKB could come out. Either or is good here for DDZ.
Yeah, I think either going to BKB AC
Thanks,
or the drums, as you said, is, getting caught out.
Yep, getting caught out completely, and with the Ancient Seal, they actually do clean up the kill, so this support combo actually working out for once. This is what it was intended to do from the get-go, but just didn't get the momentum behind it.
Yeah, it's a very potent combination later on. And now that they have those levels, they can look for those pickoffs onto the Nature's Prophet. They don't have the blink yet on the Centaur, and they won't for quite some time. But once they do, they can look for Zhongzai. That's the hero that they can actually hunt, because the other heroes are going to be more or less grouped up.
Yeah, and if they can initiate on a grouped up cluster, that's going to be absolutely perfect. But now we potentially see TPs heading towards this bottom lane. I think we're seeing the call here from Arrow. We want to start exerting pressure on a lane and then pushing another. They could look for a bit of split push here, especially considering DDZ is down here. He's actually opted for the Blink Dagger on the Dragon Knight, which is something that I can't say I've seen in a long time.
I actually quite like it. Arrow are lacking a great way to initiate their fights, and I think Blink Dagger outclasses Shadow Blade. Although the classic choice on your Dragon Knights, I think this is going to allow him to initiate with or without the Dragon form, and just have a really great way to jump into the fights. Although it's not something I considered, I like it.
Indeed, it's good on paper, it's good in theory and practice as well, but now we get the Chronosphere onto Lance. They want to try to bring down the Razor, but the swap is there, and that's going to buy time for the side of, wow, of the side of Arrow. Just look at the damage coming through, as well as the wards drop and the Aftershock. The damage out of DDZ and MTR just shredded that team. They got caught in a pincer movement. That Blink Dagger already paying off.
Yeah, DDZ went to the back line, stunned up one, and then just went to work with the Poison Dragon form. This is a tier 2 tower easily for Arrow Gaming, and a complete turnaround from what we saw last game. This aggressive playstyle is looking wonderful for them. Vengeful Spirit is a hero. When you're playing from behind is terrible to play, but when you're ahead, boy is it good. As with those levels, you can put a huge dent into the enemy team, and with that swap coming out from the Faceless Void Chronosphere, Mineski got nothing for that last trade.
No, absolutely nothing, and now we have a potential siege on a tier 3. They're going to use their spells as much as they can to try to repel it, but Lance is not taking much damage in all honesty, and he does have the mech, so he could just mech up his entire team, and we could see this fight all spiral out of control again. And coming back to that Blink Dagger for a second, I completely agree. On paper, theory, and practice, it is a good item. We just don't see it often on a DK.
Yeah, I think anytime you're considering going for a Shadow Blade on your Dragon Knight, pick up the Blink Dagger instead. It's just too good. At least in this current patch. We might see a nerf, but I don't know. Let's see. We do have a smoke coming out from Mineski, potentially looking for Roshan. If they're looking for a kill, they're not going to find it, as nobody on the side of Arrow is anywhere close on that side of the map. They might be able to catch out Zhongzai if he splits up from his team, but I don't see that happening, as this last tier 2 is looking mighty juicy.
Indeed, and it seems like Mineski just want to try to rotate and potentially get a tier 1 tower in exchange, but you consider the pushing power that Arrow have. Arrow will kill this top tier 2 before that tier 1 falls, and they can take this tower, TP back, and defend. And equally in defense, we already have DDC down here. Tower's nearly going to fall. Do they have a fortification? No, they don't. So it will be a tier 1 for a tier 2, but DDC is ready to fight from down here. I, however, think he's just going to wait it out and then push this lane in when the rest of the team evacuate or try to break a TP. But In comes the Mass Serpent Ward on this top lane. The tier 3 siege is real on this one, and with those Treants as well, this could potentially be an easy tier 3. And Zhang Zai will manage to pick up the puck, but in comes the Mystic Flare, the Chronosphere combo, but it's not enough to finish off Lance. He's going to potentially go down to the rest of them, but in comes the mech. The shackles are there. Now comes the turnaround. Jesse Vash will take a fall, as so will Oa. Completely turned around on its head here, and there is very little Mineski can do to fight back into that one. Hell, what buybacks do they even have available? They have
all of them.
Only buybacks on the Centaur, Skywrath, and Void. There is no buyback on the Puck or the Mirana. Hell, neither on the Skywrath now, but...
Yeah, huge play coming out from DDZ in the bottom lane. He was waiting until the Faceless Void TP'd out and then canceled the TP of the Puck and destroyed them. They needed a Dream Coil that fight. Maybe it would have gone differently if they had it, but I don't know. They're looking for Lance to commit the Dream Coil solo, but they don't have the follow-up. And now his follow-up is there. They're going to Magic Missile up the Morana there. She's going to be destroyed. The swap comes in, and it's going to help Jesse Vash a little bit, but Jacko, he can't man fight up against Lance, or can he? He will be able to get that kill at the very least. Now Mosin overextending. It is going to be a 2-for-1, but they get the range barracks. Melee is still standing, luckily enough for Mineski. That last engagement went a little bit better than I thought it would, as the Nature's Prophet and Dragon Knight were nowhere to be seen.
Indeed, I'm actually surprised Zhang Zai didn't rotate on the back of that one, considering he now has that Necro 3, considering how much physical damage he has, but it seems Roshan may be the order of business here. Then again, you do have DDZ ready to come in, and he's already sieging that Millie Rax, and if that falls, this is going to be huge, and his illusions will be enough to clean this one up with the backup of that catapult. And DDZ lurking nearby. Is he really going to commit to this one? Blink Dagger? No, surely not. That would be a very ballsy move.
Yeah, it would, but he made enough space to where Roshan is being pretty much soloed up by Zhang Zai with his little army of summons. And DDZ is continuing to sit up top. He spams out the wave and just makes sure that there's constant pressure inside their base. We have a 16-minute Aghanim Scepter completed by our Shadow Shaman. It's 6-1 and 5. These Serpents are going to hurt. It's not level 2 just yet, but even with just the level 1 with Ags, it does so much damage.
That is possibly the quickest Aghanim Shadow Shaman I have ever seen. Then again, he didn't opt for the Blink Dagger, which surprises me. I mean, generally you would think Blink, Shadow Shaman. Yeah, go.
I don't know. I'm okay with him not going for the blink, since they have they have the swap from the Vengeful Spirit as well as the blink dagger on the Dragon Knight in order to get that initiation. And if he wanted the blink, if he didn't go for Arcane Boots and that Staff of Wizardry, he'd have it.
I would completely agree to that one. It is just a case that that Mineski here got completely outdrafted. That is just the story of this game. The draft was where the massive failure was, and they went for something unorthodox on the side of this game, didn't find it, but in comes the Stampede combo, looking to bring down MTR. Don't quite manage it. He doesn't get his share, the Mass Serpent Wards off either, but still, Lance will clean up the Centaur War Runner, and in the back lines of this fight, down goes the Faceless Void. He just cannot stand versus this damage, and now they're going to look for Jacko. They do catch him with the Dragon Tail, and he just gets annihilated under the sheer right-click potential of DDZ and the rest of Arrow Gaming at this point. And we get a buyback from the puck. Arrow's going to fly through, not going to connect though, and Jacko needs to be careful.
Yeah, they definitely do. DDZ's just such a tank on these front lines. He's going to get silenced up and takes quite a lot of nuke damage. But with the Razor backing up, they can't really go for him. Although the push isn't in full force as they get onto Jacko, he's going to get stunned up, and that's going to be a dieback if he does fall, and it looks like he will. The Nature's Prophet ultimate bouncing through will secure that one. Looking for Sprout and Marana, they find it as Nature's Prophet cleans up the 4th death. Centaur, the only survivor, who's down bottom, and GG called out, and he might die before the base actually explodes. I don't think it's as much the draft coming out from Mineski that really went wrong. It's more the way that they decided to play it. I thought that they'd have a really good time finding those engagements, but going for the roaming Centaur just didn't pan out.
I will absolutely agree to you there. It was just a brilliant draft coming out of Arrow. They managed to exert their control, and the Centaur just did not pay off. That is the story of this game, and Arrow will take a victory here. So it's 1-1 in this JDL Season 3 matchup between these two teams. But what can I say, ladies and gentlemen? There are more games to be cast. I believe we have another one coming up. Let me just check the schedule here. If we're quick, and I stress if we're quick, we can jump into Moscow 5 versus Family or Cyclone versus CF. Which one's being cast? Huh, no, we can take our pick, I believe. Which game do we want to take?
Let's see, if Mafia 5 is going on, I think that's probably your better game.
Oh no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong tab here. That one is actually scheduled for tomorrow. I'm pretty sure we've got another JDL game we can take tonight, but we'll sort that out for you, ladies and gentlemen. And in the meantime, I'll put up some music. The stream will continue. I believe we can get you another series to watch tonight. So, if you like what we do here, follow the channels. Follow us at HeflaTV on Twitter and Facebook. And what can I say? It's been a good series of games so far, and we're hoping for more. Isn't that right, Grandis?
Absolutely. It was a lot of fun, and I'm kind of sad this isn't a best of 3. I'd love to see these teams fight it out for the third game.
So on that note, where can they find you?
Well, if you want to follow me, you can find me on Twitter and Twitch at GrandSV, GRANDASV, same way it's spelled on stream.
And for me, you can find me at Mr_Blackadder pretty much everywhere on Twitter and Twitch. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'll sort out the stream for you and we'll get you another game to watch tonight. So, we'll see you in a few.